What's up, guys? I'm the 50s Kid. In this video, I thought we would talk about the CCV system in an E46 BMW and why that system happens to clog up, especially for people who live in a cold and icy kind of climate. Now, I was sort of inspired to do this video by a video that Eric O from South Main Auto recently released about why your car never has heat, especially in the wintertime. So his opinion seems to be that if you live in an icy climate, where it's like -2 outside, you get in your car and you don't warm it up. If you just go for a drive, you drive to work, you drive that 10 to 15 minutes to work, your car never fully heats up. And especially if you have your heater on, which most people are going to do, your heater is like another radiator that's just inside the car. So it's diverting coolant that should be going to the normal radiator or should be staying in the engine to kind of keep the engine, to let the engine warm up while the thermostat is closed. It's going to bypass what little heat it has in that coolant, put it to the heater core so that you, the passenger, can stay warm. Well, with that happening, your engine never comes up to operating temperature. This is, I think, I never really thought about it because, again, I live here in California, but once you think about it, once you just kind of think about it for a little bit, you realize, of course, that's true, and of course, that's what's happening. So if you drive an E46 and you're in like a snowy climate, what's happening is that your car is just never coming up to temperature. And the reason this causes so many problems with your CCV system is because, and you recognize the CCV system, we just did a video on this, is because this CCV system with the oil separator and stuff, this lives sort of external from the engine. It lives underneath the intake manifold. So it's never really being allowed to come up to full engine temperature, and that's the big problem. So that's why you get all that condensation in these lines, it kind of mixes with the oil vapors and it forms that yellow mayo in some cases, or in some cases sort of like a milkshake type of substance, and it just sort of gets in here and it clogs up this whole thing over time. And the reason it never unclogs is because you're just never coming up to engine temperature. Engine temperature is supposed to be very near to the boiling point of water, right? So if it came up to near the boiling point of water, that water, the moisture in here would get converted to steam, and that would just sort of get sucked away, sucked into the intake manifold and sort of recycled. That would keep this clean, and that's what happens here in California or any normal sort of a normal weather kind of climate. But in really cold climates, you're just, the inside of the engine, where right on top where the intake manifold is, it's just not coming up to full temperature, and thus you get a clogged system. Now, if you have a catch can setup, you still are going to have problems with that. I just was speaking with a user. He lives in Canada. He's having problems with his catch can setup right now. He installed it. He ran it for this winter. He's having problems with it. He took it apart. He looked at all the hoses. They've got, a milkshake in them. They've got like a yellow milkshakey sort of substance in them. All of the tubes, or most of the tubes anyway. So he's got those problems, and he's running a catch can. The reason that it's happening, again, is because that catch can is external from the engine. You've got your hoses running over to wherever you've mounted the catch can. That catch can is like sitting way off to the side, never coming up to full engine temperature unless you drive your car for an hour or something like that. It's just never coming up to engine temperature, so you're never really evacuating. And it's not especially a problem with the catch can, but it's more a problem with the lines. The farther away from the engine those lines get, the less heat they're exposed to, the more condensation is allowed to sort of build up in those lines, and that's the big problem. So the consensus with that is, I guess, warm up your engine. If you live in really cold climates, that could actually help you to actually deal with this problem. So if there's a way that you can warm up your car before you get in it, just, if you're in a nice enough neighborhood, you can start it and sort of wait, or go back inside, wait around for a little bit for your car to kind of, let it idle, let it heat up, then go for a drive. That will help you mitigate the problem that is happening with your CCV system. But at the end of the day, that's kind of all you can really do. You just got to make sure that your engine is as hot as possible whenever you do drive it. And other than that, keep an eye on your CCV system, because if you don't do that, they will tend to clog. So that is it. That's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I thought it was interesting when Erico brought that up in his video. I realized that's definitely what's going on with the E46 BMW and this poorly designed CCV system. Honestly, I think that is why, not that I'm trying to sell you stuff here, because I honestly don't have very many of those valve covers left, but that's why I think the M56 valve cover is better, particularly for people in the winter, in winter conditions. That's the CCV system is built into the valve cover on that M56 valve cover, so it definitely comes up to engine temperature every time. So I think that's one particular reason why that might be better, and that might do better in the winter climates. I have no direct empirical evidence of that. It's just my theory. It's just what I think. So it's just something you might want to keep in mind if you are having that problem and you want a solution for it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.